Hi everyone, this is Devin Nunns from vslr.co.za, and this is just a quick video to show you my new slider. Basically, this is what you will get in the box. You've got your two foot blocks that hold the feet, your two rail blocks that hold the rails, four thumb screws that hold everything together, and your 4 feet, which is just aluminium pipe with a nice grippy rubber foot on the end, and then the actual sliding unit. You'll notice that there are no actual rails included. That's because this is a supply your own rail slider, which means that you will have to go and buy your own 19mm pipe for the slider to run on. I chose 19mm pipe because it is very readily available, and it's very affordable as well. It costs you 100 Rand for 3 or 4 meters of the stuff, so you can make your slider as long or as short as you want by adding whatever length of rails you feel you need for your job. And this particular rail is just an aluminium curtain rod that I bought from Builders Express, but you can use stainless steel, aluminium, anything that's smooth and fairly stiff. The stiffer the better. I know Mica Hardware sell a stainless steel, very smooth stainless steel pipe for 19mm for 60 Rand for 1.5 meters or something, which will work great. So yeah, that's basically the only thing that you'll have to supply is the 19mm rails. And there's no real limit to how long the slider can be. It's only limited by the stiffness of the pipe. So if you can get solid stainless steel bars, which are quite pricey, but if you can get them, you could have a slider that's 2 or 3 meters long with very little flex in the rods. So it's kind of up to you how long you want it. Okay, I'm just quickly going to assemble this slider. On the bottom of the rail blocks, you'll see there's 3 holes. The 2 holes on the side are 6mm holes. They are for the thumb screws to go in, and the center hole is a 1/4-20 hole, which is basically so that you can attach it to a tripod. And they both have that. The holes on top will later be used for a motorized mount, so that you can put that on and motorize the whole slider, and you don't have to slide it with your hands anymore. But let me just quickly assemble this. So the rail block basically goes into the foot block over here, and then you just put through a thumb screw, in the bottom, like that, and same on the other one. Okay, so now you basically have 2 foot pieces. Then you just take the feet, put them through the holes, tighten those down, okay, you are now 50% assembled. The next step is to obviously add your rails. Okay, so that goes in there, then just tighten it down nice and tight. It takes quite a bit of turns before this is tight, so just make sure it's nice and tight, because you don't want your rails slipping out. Okay, once you've done that, you will notice on your sliding block that there are 8 Allen bolts So you just want to undo those, and you'll see once they're undone, the foot blocks will be able to, bearing blocks will be able to move, which is what you want. Those bearings as well. So loosen those up. I highly recommend getting a screwdriver like this with some Allen tips in it. You get really cheap ones. You get a really small compact one that's about that big called a Pickwick, and it's like 50 bucks or something. I would get one of those, just keep it in your camera bag to tighten and loosen Allen bolts, which are commonly used on photographic equipment. Okay, so then you basically just insert, move the bearings out of the way, and insert the sliding block into the rails like this. Move it up all the way up to one side, then just from underneath just push the bearing blocks out so that the bearings make contact with the rails, and just give it a nice firm push. Get your screwdriver, Allen bolt driver, and tighten down those 4 Allen bolts nice and tight. Then shift it all the way to the other side and do the same. Push out from underneath so that the bearings make contact with the rod. Just give it a nice firm push and then tighten down the bolts, and you are now ready to slide. You'll see there is zero play on here, and it's nice and smooth. Okay, now you're probably wondering what these side bearings are for. And if you have very long rails, let's say 1.5 meters, 2 meters, when you get into the center, obviously, and you've got your camera on here, the pipes might bend a bit, which will loosen the sliding block, and it could even fall through. So that's why I've included here on the sides 2 bearings. So what you do is you just flip the slider over, move those bearings up against the pipe, not too tight, otherwise it'll jam your slider. So just move the bearing up against the pipe and tighten it down. You might want to do it at the side, actually, one of the ends, and just tighten this one down. Just going to loosen this one again, and see, now it's a bit too tight, so let's just see. There we go. Flip it back over, and there you have it, your slider fully assembled. And these bearings will stop these bars from bowing in the middle if you've got quite a lot of weight on here. Just another thing that I would like to mention is these foot pieces here are just 16mm aluminium pipe that's also readily available. The slider will be supplied with 25cm feet, so you are able to raise it approximately 25cm off the ground. On both sides. This just gives you quite a bit of ground clearance, and also if you are shooting on very uneven terrain, rocks and stuff, you're still able to level out your slider. Obviously the longer you make the feet, the more unstable it'll become, just because of the flex and everything. If you want, you can go buy yourself longer 16mm pipes, and that way you can extend it, you know, a meter off the ground or whatever, but obviously the longer you make it, the less stable it'll be. But it is an option, because I know that with a slider like this you have to have 2 tripods in order to lift it up off the ground on tripods, which some people have complained about, but unfortunately there's no other way I can make it at this stage. So you either have to carry 2 tripods around, or you can just buy longer pipe for these feet here, and hopefully that will do away with the need to carry 2 tripods with you. But yeah, that's basically all I have to show you. Oh, like I mentioned before, that I'm going to be making a motorized mount at some stage that will just bolt on here and probably have a little servo with a cable or belt or something that will attach to the sliding block, and a little control box that you plug in, and you can then just control your slider without actually touching it, because sometimes it is hard to get a constant speed when pushing your slider by hand. So it would be nice just to have a motorized mount, so you can just set the speed, press a button, and it will go at a constant speed. But we'll see, that'll still be in a month or 2 depending how things go. So yeah, this is just so that you can see what the slider looks like. Okay, thanks very much.